In the autumn of 1492, a man named Christopher Columbus gazed upon an endless horizon, his ships drifting across the uncharted Atlantic. For generations, school books and national myths have told us a simple story, that Columbus, daring and bold, discovered America. But history is never so simple. And when we ask the question, did Columbus really discover America? The truth begins to unfold like a map filled with hidden routes, forgotten voices, and competing claims. Let us begin by confronting the word discover. To discover means to find something previously unknown. But unknown to whom? For tens of thousands of years before Columbus ever dreamed of crossing the Atlantic, the Americas were alive with civilizations, vast empires, cities larger than most in Europe, cultures with science, mathematics, and spiritual traditions that rivaled any old world society. The Maya, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mississippian mound builders, millions of people called these lands home. To them, Columbus did not discover a new world. He arrived uninvited, changing everything forever. When Columbus landed on an island in the Bahamas on October 12, 1492, he believed he had reached Asia, the fabled Indies. He called the people he met Indios, a name that stuck, echoing through centuries. Yet, Columbus never set foot on the land we call the United States today. His voyages touched the Caribbean, parts of Central America, and South America. The myth that he discovered America grows thinner the closer we look. Because centuries before Columbus, around the year 1000, Norse explorers led by Leif Erikson had already crossed the Atlantic, landing on the shores of what is now Newfoundland in Canada. Archaeological remains at Lens or Meadows confirm a Norse presence long before 1492. To the Norse, it was Vinland. To native peoples, it was simply home. To us, it is a reminder that Columbus was not the first European to glimpse these lands. And yet, even the Vikings were not the first humans. Indigenous peoples had migrated to the Americas from Asia perhaps 15,000 years earlier, crossing ancient land bridges, following herds, and establishing communities that blossomed into civilizations. If we speak of discovery, then surely they were the first. The Americas were never a blank slate waiting for European eyes. They were continents rich in story, knowledge, and human achievement. So why does Columbus hold this title, the discoverer of America? The answer lies not in geography, but in power. Columbus's voyages, backed by the Spanish crown, ignited an era of conquest, colonization, and global transformation. His arrival in 1492 marked the beginning of the Columbian Exchange. Plants, animals, diseases, and people flowing between continents. Wheat, horses, and smallpox came west. Corn, potatoes, and tobacco traveled east. This exchange reshaped diets, economies, and the fates of nations. It bound the old world and new world together in ways that could never be undone. But the legacy of Columbus is dark as well. His first encounters with the Taino people began with curiosity and gifts, yet soon violence, enslavement, and disease followed. Entire populations were decimated. Columbus himself ordered brutality, demanding tribute of gold and punishing those who resisted. The so-called discovery came at a devastating human cost, one still felt in the descendants of those who survived. This dual legacy, exploration and exploitation, fuels the debate we have today. In classrooms, in statues, in national holidays, we wrestle with the meaning of Columbus. Was he a visionary navigator who dared to sail beyond the known world? Or was he the harbinger of conquest and catastrophe? Perhaps he was both. For generations, Western education framed Columbus as the heroic figure who opened the doors to modern history. Yet indigenous voices tell a different story, a story of loss, survival, and resilience. To them, October 12th is not always a day of discovery, but a day of mourning. And as societies today grapple with monuments and memory, many have chosen to rename Columbus Day as Indigenous Peoples Day, honoring those whose presence long predated European arrival. So, did Columbus really discover America? If we mean the first European to step onto American soil, the Vikings hold that title. If we mean the first humans to truly discover the continents, then that belongs to the indigenous peoples who arrived millennia earlier. But if we speak of who transformed the world with a single voyage, whose arrival marked a turning point in history, then yes, Columbus's 1492 journey was one of the most consequential events of all time. What we discover in truth is that discovery is not a single act, it is a perspective. To one people, Columbus discovered. To another, he invaded. To yet another, he connected worlds across oceans. The story of Columbus is not about a single man, but about how we remember the past and whose voices we choose to honor. So, next time you hear the phrase, Columbus discovered America, pause and reflect, because the real story is far more complex, far more human, and far more important than any single myth. The truth is unveiled. America was never lost to be discovered. It was already here, full of life, long before Columbus ever set sail. And if you want more history unveiled, more myths broken down, and more stories that textbooks never told you, then join us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with friends who love uncovering the truth behind history. Because together, we can make sure the real stories are never forgotten.